What up? Thank you so much for coming back and listening to week 2 of Haddles House. This week was super fun. I got to interview the incomparable Charlie Fay. Charlie is a comedian and truly one of the funniest people I've ever been in the same room as, let alone gotten to be friends with. He's a talented writer, a really successful commercial actor. I'm going to link some of his stuff in the show notes and you'll see. He is also a historian, then really, really smart. And this episode definitely has more of a you're hanging out with us vibe. I asked him questions and he answered them extremely honestly, but we had a lot of really great sidebars that I decided to leave in. A lot of the point of this show is for you to get a sense of who this person is and the shit that they're interested in. So if you're looking for the bang, bang, bang facts of Charlie Fay's life, just Google him. This episode is more touching his vibe, as the children would say. He really brought it for you. Just a heads up, around minute 44, we're going to discuss mental health in a way that some listeners may find triggering. It's super brief, but we do talk about suicidal ideation. So if that's something you don't feel like you're up for right now, you can just skip from minute 44 to minute 46. And I'll also put a reminder in the show notes. But yeah, I love you guys. And if you can leave a review, that would honestly be huge for me. So thank you in advance. And please enjoy my conversation with Charlie Fay. It was a blast. Hi, Charlie.
Hello.
Welcome to Haddles House.
I love this house.
I love having you here, and so does Betty.
Hi, Betty.
Betty might bark during this episode. Normally I would tuck her away, but she's too in love with Charlie, so.
I'm too in love with Betty.
She's literally looking at him right now with the biggest doe eyes.
She's the best girl I know.
Betty's a lover, and Betty really likes a lot of people, but she really likes Charlie.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Oh my.
You guys have a special thing.
Yeah, that would be.
So Charlie, I'm just gonna kind of jump right in here.
Oh, fuck yeah.
How do we know each other?
Through Groundlings?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right before the pandemic we met.
Yeah. We were in an intermediate class, and you, me, and our friend Willie, who will be a later guest on the pod, all had COVID before COVID was a thing.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we all had fevers, and this was pre-pandemic, so we would just go to class anyway.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely had COVID. In February or January.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest chest cold I've ever had in my entire life. Yeah.
I think I had a fever of 102 one day and went to class.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's also just so weird how different the world was pre-pandemic. You would go to class if you were sick.
Yeah, you wouldn't even think about it.
Doesn't matter how sick you were. You were like, well, I can't miss it. Charlie, I know this, but our listener doesn't know this. Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about your backstory.
I'm from Connecticut, from the mean streets of Connecticut. Fairfield, Connecticut, to be exact. Not too far from you.
Yeah.
Kind of. From your high school.
From my high school.
God. What is my backstory?
Where'd you go to college?
Emerson College in Boston.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun. And a campus out here in LA.
Oh yeah, didn't you do some kind of program?
Yeah, they have a satellite program.
Why don't you tell our listener a little bit about that?
Yeah, they're it's study abroad, but it's in LA.
Study domestic.
Study domestic, yeah. Yes, came out here to do this stuff, and it's worked. It's fully worked. It's happening. It's working, thriving. Yeah, and I moved out here with everybody I knew from college. So
that's really nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know how you got out here. What do you do?
Nothing. I came out here to write, and that didn't really work that well. And then so now I commercial act, which was not the intention. That's what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you had a business card, what would it say?
They would probably say, probably commercial actor, wannabe comedian, maybe. Yeah. Nothing
about writing?
No, because I haven't made enough money doing that. Or I haven't that doesn't dividends, if that makes sense.
That's okay, I feel but it's something you're pursuing, no?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that is kind of that's one of the things I don't love about LA is that it's so saying a thing that you're not, and maybe that's just me because I'm hard on the concept where it's like, no, you don't get to say you're in the NBA until you're like starting on the Lakers, which is wrong. And with this career, I'm like, no, you don't say, Charlie, you're an actor or a writer until you're, in a writer's room on TV or whatever. That's why, like, maybe not a qualifier, but the specific of commercial, I'm like, I need to make that clear that I could say actor, but I'm like, I don't do theater or TV or movies. I just do commercial, or I've only done commercials.
Okay, yeah, but you've been extremely successful in commercials, which is a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it is hard. No, the thing that I would probably say I'm the best at of the things that I do is auditioning. I think I'm a good commercial auditioner, and that's worked in commercial acting. But yeah, I mean, I'm like, only over the last few months have I been like, yes, I am a commercial actor. I have proof. That to me is the thing. It's like, do you have proof of the thing you do?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, I have proof of that. You do, like, you have to be a entrepreneur to do this stupid thing. So it's like, whatever makes that, like, I have a friend who had put your like bio or whatever on like the playbill.
Oh, yeah.
This friend had put won this screenplay competition, and that screenplay was never written, but a rep saw that and was like, oh, let's talk about it, and then like it got them in the door.
Wow.
So like, no one is going to legitimize you, I guess, but you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
So yeah, I mean, now it's what you gotta do.
I was gonna ask you what the best advice you would give someone who wants to start in your industry. So would it be fake it till you make it?
In commercials?
Or yeah, I mean, like, okay, so Charlie is saying that he's a commercial actor. He is. He's a successful commercial actor, but like he's also one of the funniest people I've ever met. So like, also
That's very
comedian,
nice.
also great writer, also actor. Like,
That's a very nice thing.
so if somebody was moving to LA and they're like, I want to do all those things that Charlie Fay does because he's my
God.
idol, like what would they do?
I don't know that I could give advice for anything other than commercial stuff.
Okay, fine. What's your commercial advice?
I mean, I would say like find a look, because like maybe 90% I feel like of commercials, like you just gotta look a certain way, and then just know that and lean into it. Like there's almost no skill. It's really just like being self-aware enough and knowing like, okay, this is how you audition. This is how you introduce yourself. This is how you leave a room. That is acting in and of itself. It's like pretending, and I could be wrong. There are probably more legitimate actors who are like, no, I'm really gregarious.
Yeah, but I'm asking you for your advice.
No, yeah. For me, I'd say just like be very observant and like whatever you think you don't have, you just gotta like fake it, because it is, with commercials in particular, you're like a glorified model. Not like visual model, but like you're there to like make Coca-Cola look awesome to drink. Yeah, and I would say also don't underestimate the hang. Like, one thing that's my favorite part of being out here is like after a show or whatever, to like hang out, especially in like improv. Like, you want to get chemistry with your team. You want to meet people. And I don't mean meet people in terms of like connections. Like, we're very lucky to do this and to be able to like have fun with our friends and like dick around. Like when a show is going really well, if it's like improv, you're making your scene partners laugh, I think. And that's built through like doing that off stage. So like being down to hang whenever you can. I mean, we got to get up early for the job that pays the bills the next day. But yeah, don't underestimate the hang. And like, I would say maybe the last thing is, I remember in college, there was a writing course that I took, and the teacher kind of made clear that sometimes the difference between a good writer and a bad writer is knowing what are notes to take and which ones to ignore. And by that, I don't mean like, I'm not taking that note. It's more you can kind of gauge your barometer for growth based on if you're going like, that's not right. Like, I'm not going to take that. And that is like a good measurement of growth, is like being very receptive to notes and critique, and like, but then also knowing like, no, that's not for me.
Right. There are like certain notes that will make a change that would improve whatever you're writing.
Yeah.
And then there are certain notes that like would change the character of it. And you have to know what the difference is.
Yeah. And it's usually the more you can go like, yeah, that's probably legit, is the more growth you'll do. But then also, like, that's learning your voice, is knowing when to be like, that's a good note, it's not this. Like, I'm a...
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like all of that sounded so pretentious.
It doesn't, though. Like, I literally asked you the question, like, what is your advice? And you're like, here's my advice. But, like, I could be wrong. Somebody else might know better than me. It's like, yeah, but I'm not asking them. I'm asking you.
I know. I'm just, like, picturing anyone who is more legitimate at this career being like, where does he get off saying anything? You know what I mean?
Think about who's going to be listening to this. Like, no one more legit than you is going to listen to this.
I would hope that's not... That can't, for your
Charlie,
sake, that can't be true.
If you are listening to this episode, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It means so much to me.
Write in, what are you doing while listening to this?
Yeah, write in, tell us what you think. You can be honest, because this is only the second episode, so leave it in the comments. But try to be a little bit nice, because I'm sensitive.
Yeah. Don't be a doucher.
What do your parents do?
My dad is like a semi-retired international insurance. I could not necessarily tell you what that means.
Fair.
But like owns like an international insurance company that he started when I was a kid. From what I understand, it is insuring losses for companies or something, but it's international. So he was always in and out of the country.
Charlie's dad is a spy.
Yeah. That'd be amazing. My dad is the most... I love him, but he's the most ornery... like irritable. Like I could not picture him as a spy, because if his Russian target or whatever was bothering him, he'd just be like, I'm a fucking spy, okay? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm fucking sick of you. But yeah, he does that. And then my mom is a public speaking coach.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that how you got all your charisma?
No, well, I don't, not that I have, but I mean,
no, you're allowed. I mean, you sure be self-deprecating, but like obviously you're very charismatic.
That's funny. In my head, I'm like, it's the opposite of my. But well, she ran the middle school or elementary school talent show growing up. She was like, okay, you have to stay here while I direct this, and to keep me occupied, she was like, okay, Charlie, you be the MC, as a joke, kind of, like, so I'd go up and announce the people, and then she was like, okay, you can just do it. So then for the school talent shows, I would be the MC. She would like write the stuff, but
How old were you? Like starting in what grade?
5th grade? No, younger. No.
The most popular boy in school.
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
everybody loves the like younger kid who's confident enough to do that shit. I can totally picture it.
Maybe. Yeah, I have no memory of it. I mean, I have a memory of a couple of the talent shows. Yeah, I guess I did do it kind of young. Maybe I was like 8.
Coolest kid in school for sure.
I wish.
No, I think like you didn't realize it at the time, but everybody else realized it.
No, I was like spazzy and like always anxious, spazzy. I mean, I was like a class clown. Yeah. Like definitely that was fun, but no attention from girls. A lot of and I was always way smaller than I am now. I'm like 5'7", but I was like not even 5 feet for, I would say, most of my life. I feel like that's probably wrong, but
did you grow 7 inches like in the last couple of years?
Yeah, just moving to LA. No,
but taking a little HGH.
Yeah. I didn't have chest hair until college, and then it came in those 4 years. I was like, and then underarm hair I didn't have until the end of high school.
Smooth like a baby. Yeah. 4-0 and smooth like a baby.
Yeah, it was just a slippery, small, anxious little thing.
Do you know that scene from The Office where Gabe is like, I am smooth like a porpoise for you?
Oh, that's great. What's his name? Zach Woods?
Zach Woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so funny.
He's funny. See, I would kill. That man is like 6'7". Would love that.
But that's like almost too tall.
Yeah, no, that's correct. Yeah.
When I'm on dating apps and I see people who are like over 6'5", I'm like, all right, do less. Too tall.
Yeah, it's a curse. You can be on an airplane and...
Yeah, oh my God, walking under door frames?
I think I would like that.
I think you would like it for like a week, and then you'd be
true.
Like, fuck this.
People would also be looking at you a lot, which would freak me out, because I'd want to be able to be anonymous.
I was talking to somebody yesterday, and he was talking about his friend who's 6'7" and who's in jail, and I was like, you can't be doing crimes when you're 6'7", because everyone's gonna see you.
Yeah, it was him up there.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that's so funny.
What's your astrology? How much do you know about astrology?
Not a lot. I mean, I'm a Pisces.
Okay.
That's it. But no, I don't know.
That's okay. We could look it up, but like honestly, I only know certain signs and I already don't know Pisces, so I feel like
Oh, really?
you're a water sign. I know that.
Does that mean I like water?
I think it does mean you're like most comfortable in the water.
I'm terrified of the water.
You're terrified of water?
Of like the ocean and stuff.
Why?
I'm such a curmudgeon. I'm like, I get in the water and I'm like, it's cold. Why is it so cold in here? I don't like this. Like, I'd rather be, and then I go back to the sand and I'm like, it's hot. There's no middle. But like,
Okay, Larry David.
a little bit, yeah. But no, yeah. Yeah, I do love like a lake or a river.
So it's just the ocean.
Yeah.
I get it, man. The ocean's big and scary. Like, I love it, but I like understand not liking it because it's.
You can see the bottom.
It's like going into outer space.
Yeah, isn't there that like? It's one of those quotes that like can't be real, but they're like, we have mapped more of the surface of the moon and Mars than we have of
that
the
is true.
bottom of the. Is that true?
Yep.
That's so wild.
We only have explored, I think, like 3% of the ocean.
Really?
That feels wrong. Maybe it's like 6%, but it's like nothing.
Yeah.
And there's so much shit down there.
I know.
And we're like, let's see if there's an alien on Mars. It's like, well, we have aliens literally living on this planet. We're just killing them all with like fossil fuels. So.
Every time I see an octopus that like changes color or whatever, like it's an octopus with like a trick that can like unscrew a fucking jar, I'm like, well, yeah, that thing came from Venus probably. Like, it just adapted to ocean.
I think the crazier thing is that like it didn't. It came from here, and like we are so fucking out of touch with what Earth is, and we're just like destroying it. It's so annoying.
Being alive for when Darwin wrote that book must have been fucking crazy.
That's so true.
That like the world was defined. I'll say in the Western world, everyone you knew, but in most of human history, you understood through the lens of like the church, right? And then this thing comes along, and like. It's really convincing. It like changes a lot of people's minds. And that was like, there are photos of these people. Like that was not that long ago.
Yeah, wasn't it like 150 years ago? It was like the 1880s. Is that so wrong?
No. Yeah, it would have been I think it was like the 1860s maybe. Because if I'm not mistaken, Abraham Lincoln's son was fascinated with Darwinism. Because it was like books of, animals from all over the world. So people in Illinois were like, what is a finch? And they're like, oh, it's this. That blows my mind that is obviously, it's not slept on. That topic does get its due. But it is wild that like in the last 150 years, our perception of how we arrived is completely different for most people.
Yeah.
For most, yeah.
Well, I mean, even in the last 30 years, like DNA, like DNA evidence wasn't a thing. For the OJ,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy balls.
Yeah.
Like, you used to be able to, like, literally just commit crimes. And because obviously there was no CCTV back in the day. Mm-hmm. And then you didn't have a cell phone that was, like, geolocating you. And they didn't have DNA. So, like, I could just, like, literally go around, like, doing crimes and, like, get away with it forever.
This is you lamenting.
I'm like, fuck. I was so born in the wrong generation. Bring me back to the 80s, baby. Not for the culture. I just want to do crimes.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, DNA. And also I feel like it's, again, I don't know anything about science, but it feels like the speed at which we've learned through that has been exponential. Where it's like we figured out DNA or whatever, and then now we're 30 years later or something like that. And
we're like cloning people.
Yeah.
We're like sheep.
Yeah, we made a sheep. That's a really good point. Kind of too slept on, but not slept on, but like
no, but just kind of like something you don't really, we kind of take it for granted in our daily lives.
Yeah. Like Darwin should be, I think he is in England, but it's like, put that motherfucker on the dollar.
Yeah.
Like that is a dude you should be reminded of. Yeah.
Figure out something as cool as Darwinism and maybe we'll snub you for the dollar.
Do something with your life.
Speaking of which, did you always know you wanted to come out to LA and like do comedy, commercial acting?
Maybe. I don't think I ever put LA together, but I think I always knew. I mean, I remember being a kid and the first time, you get a laugh and you're like, what the fuck was that? That was awesome. It was the best feeling. Yeah. So I was like, okay, this would be fun. But I also really love history. So I was like, maybe I'll just be like a history teacher or historian type of thing. And I'd always thought, when I went to college, I went specifically for writing because, and I still feel this way for myself, not about other people, but I feel uncomfortable inviting myself to want to perform because it almost feels, again, very specifically just to me, for me. I'm like, that's so egotistical, Charlie, that you'd want to like be like, oh, you should look at me perform. So I'm like, no, you're right. Like, you're behind the scenes. You still produce fun stuff, but you're not demanding people pay attention to you and like validate you. And I never even said the word me and comedian until halfway through college. I was like, okay, I'm going to be comfortable with saying like, I do want to be this. Yeah. So I think I always knew, but it's always been a struggle to accept that and honor that. It's always felt a little uncomfortable, and even still, but as I've gotten older and realized no one is going to like invite you. Yeah. You have to self-advocate, which is, I hate it. It's terrifying, but you do have to do it.
It is like one of the hardest things about this industry is because I feel like most of us like have this weird complex where it's like we're both super confident and we like want to be on stage, but we're also so self-deprecating and like like our own worst enemy to such a huge degree, and both of those things exist at the same time. And then you're like, okay, but I want to do this, so like somebody should invite me because like I'm obviously not going to invite myself, and then no one does, and you're like, I'm a loser, I guess I should just never go outside again. And then you're like, no, but I want to be on stage.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you know what's funny is that's also maybe advice that I would say is like, you have to be able to be honest, and if you think you're good or know you're good or whatever, and then someone's like, you should leave, you're like, oh, that wasn't good, I don't know if you're into this, but you know you're good, you know, you're like, I'm not listening to that person. But the issue is, how do you know you're correct in being resolute in yourself? Like when I'm like, no, I'm gonna fucking do this until I can't anymore, I'm like, there's a very fine line between me being a psychopath who behind my back people are like, okay, I'm doing another class with that Charlie kid. He makes some fucking crazy choices on stage. I don't know why he's still, you know what I mean? There's like a fine line between being self-aware and being delusional. I very, very much accept the concept of discovering that this is not for me.
Okay, like, but it is. Maybe. And I'm not just saying that because like you're my friend and you're on my podcast right now, but like you are really good.
That's very nice of you. Thank you.
It's true.
I want to also make clear, swear to God, I promise you I wasn't fishing.
He's crying right now. Yeah, there are tears rolling down his cheeks.
This is fucked up. No, it wasn't. It was more of that concept really fascinating of like, being self-aware enough and like, I think it goes back to that taking notes thing, like knowing when there's a thing you can work on.
I guess like to kind of summarize that, in trying to pursue this very difficult thing, you have to have enough belief in yourself to not listen to haters, but you also have to accept that having that much belief in yourself, if you have a haters, might mean that you're fucking crazy, and you just have to kind of be okay with that anyway. I think that's really good advice. I think it's true.
That's a really succinct way of, I think that's right.
Yeah, like there's a really fine line between like believing in yourself despite everything else, and then also being like, well, you might not, maybe you shouldn't be believing in yourself so hard.
Correct. I talk about this with my friend Matt all the time. When coming here, your kind of scale of what success is changes in the sense of like, well, the specific that I'll use is when we met each other in college and found out that we were like comedy soulmates, our worst fear was being Rob Schneider. Like, you make these things, people loathe your work, you are not respected. And now I would murder for Rob Schneider's career. Where it's like you're making, first of all, you're in a movie, like you're in one, you're leading one. He was a smash on SNL. Like, I would murder for that man's life. And your perception of what it is changed. It's like, are you working? Are you happy working? Do you have like a life outside of it? Like, yeah, it changes.
Yeah. I remember talking to someone before the pandemic, so like 4 years ago, and he was saying, I just want to be a working actor. Like, I don't care what I'm working on. It could be a soap opera. It could be whatever. Like, I just want to work and get paid to act. And I remember being like, pathetic. But now I'm like, yeah, real. Like, that'd be sweet.
Yeah. No, it would be. You also learn how elusive that is.
And also at the time I was like, oh, you just want to get paid to like act. You don't even care what it is. I'm like, low bar. And now I'm like, wow, you think you could get paid to act? Yeah, like the bar does move.
The bar moves, and you learn your, like, you kind of, again, I'll bring it back to commercial stuff, is like, arguably any company you're doing an ad for has extremely unethical business practices. It's like, yeah, we want to make money, we want to support ourselves.
Right, you gotta live.
Yeah, but it's also like, yeah, you both sell out and realize that concept is maybe fake. I know people who are interpersonally the most moralistic, ethical, their thing is they know their moral compass and they do not deviate, but they'll do an ad for Apple, and you know what I mean. It goes away.
Yeah, I hadn't planned to ask you this, but now I'm going to. Is there anyone you wouldn't do a commercial for?
Probably not.
Would you do a commercial for like Lockheed Martin?
Probably.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know that I'm like, because where it goes to me is, again, there's no company that I defend or whatever. It's more the like, if I were to say, okay, Lockheed Martin or like Raytheon or something, I'm like, I'm not going to fucking shill for you. I'm like, okay, but I have shilled for this, and this, or I own an iPhone. I put, gas in my car. I'm already a piece of shit. I don't recycle all the time.
Yeah, but your iPhone isn't like directly making weapons of war.
No, but it is slave labor.
Yeah, it's all fucked up. It's all connected.
Fast fashion. It's like to me. I would look at myself in the mirror and be like, I took a stand. Then I'd be like, you fucking hypocrite. Like, no, you didn't. You bought a shirt at H&M where some 13-year-old died on the assembly line. But this isn't to justify bankrupting morals. This is not like, well, what do you mean I shouldn't do the ad for the new campaign to reinstate the death penalty? It's all the same. Like, it's not. It's objectively not all the same. I just think of like being made fun of for like taking a stand, and then them being like, right, but you're like, you called your friend an asshole or something. You know what I mean? Like,
how much of your day is spent running through scenarios where people are going to be critiquing
you? Every single minute. I'm constantly. It's the thing I'm working on in therapy where it's like,
good. What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
Well, my mom always repeated not her mother, but my grandmother's advice of, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. So true.
It really is.
Yeah. When you have all the time to do a thing, you don't do it.
Oh my God. Like, you're unemployed. It's like you're the least productive.
It's fucking crazy. That's the exact, especially in this industry. Like, even if you're working, you're like, I have a month of nothing. Yeah. And then always go to the thing is the one that I've been trying to do more. It's like, always go to the thing. My dad basically said that, but it's like, not if you're deciding whether to I'll just stay home tonight, or like, I don't know if I want to go do the show, or like get dinner with these, or like go for like the hike or whatever. Like, always doing the thing is like 99% of the time, it's like the weird salve to the reason you were gonna stay home.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh, I'm gonna stay home and I'm tired, or like I'm feeling gross, or like, what's the point? It, like, you go and it solves the issue.
That's so true, because sometimes it's so stupid and ironic and like bullshit, but it's like, I'm lonely, so I don't want to go to the thing.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, I'm just a loser, I'm gonna drag everybody down, and then it's like you go and you're like, oh wait, no, my friends love me and I love my friends and I'm fine. 99%
of the time, it's just like you were very grateful, or you forget the thing that was going to keep you at home anyway.
Yeah.
And then I guess the last one I'll say is, my friend, again, Matt, says, I think this is great. He's like, I'll throw myself a pity party, but I won't go on a pity bender. Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to honor you can't fight it.
I like that, because it is easy to have a pity party spiral.
Were we talking about you being oh wait, you were saying something about
me being a bitch.
Wait, what's that?
What?
Puppet.
Oh, this puppet? Yeah, I got a pterodactyl puppet the other day.
Have you discussed your love of dinosaurs on this yet?
I haven't, no.
You probably should.
Okay. Here's the thing, is I don't know a lot about dinosaurs. Like, people assume that because I love them, I like know factoids about them. People are like, oh, what's your best dinosaur fact?
But don't you know what they're called and stuff?
I mean, I know what some of them are called.
Interesting.
But probably know more than the average bear. And I have 3 dinosaur tattoos, but they're all T-Rexes. Like, I'm pretty basic in my... What?
You know, the daddy of all dinosaurs. Maybe you'd like the aesthetic of the podcast in terms of artwork could be dinosaurs.
That's a good idea. I think it should be. I think it's like dinosaurs and UFOs.
And UFOs?
Yeah, that's my other big thing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's just interesting.
I have a tattoo of UFOs on my rib, but I really want to get another one on my arm because people never see the one on my rib, and I want to let them know.
That they out there? That's on Reddit a lot.
What?
The UFO subreddit is like... there's so many videos of Congress people being just like, yeah, we talked about it yesterday. Like, what I keep hearing is like, people will riot, and I'm like, that looks like a legitimate congressman.
No, they have come out in the last year being like, yeah, aliens are real. Now they're calling them
UAPs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, it was literally a blip on the radar because there's like 2 major wars going on, and like the Earth is dying, and so everyone's like, oh, aliens, whatever. What else?
I mean, yeah, the effects of us learning about maybe what would happen would potentially have such big ripple effects on how we live day-to-day life. You know what I mean? That it would make sense, I guess, in my brain that they're like withholding information because, like, what would humans do if we knew?
Right. If we like knew we didn't have to survive in capitalism and like instead we could
Or
just
anything.
like live peacefully. Or
Have you heard of the filter theory? I'm gonna botch this.
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna just absolutely ruin this, but it's like kind of like this tier system of creating, I think, global civilization. And the theory is that one of the reasons we haven't been visited, or if we haven't, is because societies, as they advance, like globally, will destroy themselves before they will develop the technology to travel interplanetarily. You know what I mean? Like, as you're getting that advanced, conflict will outpace development.
Innovation.
Yeah. So, like, we're really developed right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, like we're teetering on the edge.
Yeah. Like, we've been to the moon. We have the Voyager thing out in space, and we haven't had a really, really catastrophic global conflict. But like, we could. Yeah, I know.
Knock wood, please. Honestly.
Yeah. So the theory is that like that's just a kind of a law of civilization, is that it destroys itself before it can get that advanced. Yeah.
I mean, didn't they think like the Incans and the Mayans were visited by aliens because they had those huge, not crop circles, but those huge.
Yeah, like it's like a lizard.
And it's like
half a mile long.
Like they could only be seen from space, and they didn't know how to get to space at that time. So they're like, why were they making them? How did they know how to make them?
I like how quickly two people in front of a microphone will talk about UFOs and space.
Really true.
I love that.
Okay, well, kind of adjacent to UFOs, have you ever seen a ghost?
I don't think I believe in ghosts.
Oh, okay, so that's part of the question.
Yeah. I don't think I believe in them.
Why not?
There's just too many holes in the theory for me where I'm like, why don't we see ghosts from, like, Roman era? Why don't we see caveman ghosts? You know what I mean? Like, why don't we see ghosts of animals? Why is it seems to always be this specific time?
Because I think, I don't really know, I've never thought about this, but my instant thought is, like, ghosts hang around until they complete whatever journey they had to complete, and that's like why certain people are ghosts and other people aren't. Like if you have some unfinished business, then you come back as a ghost, and ideally, like the Romans, like 2,000 years ago, they've all finished their business. So like the people who are ghosts are like the last 200 years because like they're still trying to learn those lessons.
What are ghosts wearing though?
They're like always wearing like nightgowns.
Yeah, the kind of like. My extremely pretentious way of putting all of this stuff is I don't know if there's a God, or I don't think we can know, but I don't like when people are like, there isn't one, or they're like, well, there is one. I'm like, but you don't know, like we don't know. So I like the like possibility of so many of like maybe there are ghosts, maybe there's this and that. Because, yeah, I mean, then it would suppose that there's, like, an afterlife. I don't think there's, like, a dude with a beard in the sky.
I agree.
But, like...
But there's something.
Yeah, I would not... I can't say one way or another if there's not, like, some, like, energy or consciousness or anything. Like, I mean, I don't really believe in anything, but I'm like, I can't say there isn't. I would feel so wrong. But there's also, like, I fully believe there are just things we can't comprehend.
Like, we don't understand that. Like, we are electrical current meat machines, and hot take, but, like, I think all animals have consciousness. And, like what is that? That doesn't make sense. And, like, trees talk to each other, and mushrooms talk to each other, and, like...
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's probably so much of it is, like, human arrogance. Like, whenever there's a thing where it's like, they taught this animal how to read. I'm like, what? And then I think of, like, being... If we could have communicated with that animal the whole time, they'd be like, yeah, you asshole. We can do all this shit.
This is a really half-baked theory, but I kind of feel like the way humans treat the rest of the animals is like the way that America treats the rest of the world, where it's just like, we're better and smarter than you, shut the fuck up. And they're like, no, we're actually good and smart.
Wait, there's some, that's really funny. There's some quote that's like, if animals had the ability to speak and have a religion, their devil would undeniably be human. And I was like, oh, that's very interesting.
That's such a sad and dark quote, but it's like 1,000%. Yeah, we're just like, we want to have Amazon. Beep boop boop. I kind of want to jump around. Do you collect anything?
I mean, well, so I started to try to collect presidential pins purely for the concept of like, wow, this thing is like 140 years old and was worn by somebody. I think
that is cool.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting.
That's a great thing to collect.
I know, but they're like expensive and whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like that.
What do those things run for? Those babies?
I think they can go. I mean, you can find them for literally free in an antique store, but you can also find there's some that are probably 1,000 maybe. I would guess maybe a few hundred. Like a Lincoln. I think a Lincoln pin is the most sought after.
Yeah.
But as you go farther and farther back, there's obviously less remaining versions of it, and now they don't exist. But yeah, kind of pins, Legos for a little bit, but again, very expensive. If I ever have more disposable income, I'll probably start collecting more historical photographs, things, just old nonsense.
Cool.
Yeah, I love shit like that.
Do you believe in signs from the universe?
I think I do. I do think I do.
Do you have an example of one?
When it like happened?
Mm-hmm.
No. But I'll put it like this. In better now, but pretty bad OCD. And a lot of OCD is superstitious thinking. It's one subset. And in my freshman year of high school, I read The Alchemist, which basically the whole thing is about signs from the universe. And my OCD was really blooming, like getting worse. And I started to really see that in everything. Like, okay, if like the computer was at an angle, that would mean that something was going to happen. Like crazy shit.
Yeah.
I get bad panic attacks. The way I describe it is like the beginning of that show, Chernobyl, when like it just opens, like the nuclear reactor has just gone off and people are like you gotta grab onto something. Like the room is like shaking, and like melting down. You're not communicating it, so that's making it worse.
Yeah, you're like shutting down, and then you're like it's all building inside of you.
Yeah, and you're like trying to keep being human. Anybody who has those panic attacks, honor them.
Yeah.
That's advice, I guess. Honor them. Don't be strong.
Yeah.
Honor it. Take care of it. Yeah.
Really true. I have had panic attacks, but I used to mostly have anxiety attacks, which were just like longer.
Yeah.
You know?
Lower and slower.
Yeah.
And longer, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they suck. It's fucking terrible. It's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I told you. I had to go to a mental health center in 2022 because I was like, all right, I'm done. Trigger warning or whatever. I didn't like have like a plan or anything, but I was like, cool, I'm done. Like if this keeps going, I'm done. So I had to because they just happen out of nowhere sometimes.
Yeah.
You can't explain it. You can't fix it. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, there's just like nothing to do other than like wait for it to pass.
And sometimes that's just that's not the move.
Nope. No.
Yeah.
Especially because there are things you can cognitively do and like ways you can improve your, like if I wasn't on medication, like probably the same.
Yeah.
Double trigger warning.
No, I mean, truly, 2024 has been good to me mental health wise because I'm like, went up on some stuff and I'm like, great. Yeah, you're a fucking idiot, Charlie. Like,
it's crazy though. Like when the meds work, they work and you realize just like so many other things, we don't think of it as a disease, but it is. Like, I don't think of my depression and anxiety like as a literal disease, but it's like a blood pressure thing. It's like you just take your medicine and then you're fine. And
it's a factor. Like it undoubtedly has an effect on the way you, like, something that I had to, a lower stakes version of it that I had to come to grips with is like, because I'll get these on stage too from time to time, and I'll hate it because I'm like, I wanted to have that show be great, but my performance was objectively hindered by I'm fighting a panic attack while trying to do improv, and the stakes are nothing. But I had to just be like, right, part of your journey is unfortunately that you have a hitch, and that is you will have these on stage sometimes. Yeah. Don't compare, like, some people don't.
But some people will never be as good as you are on your, on your
Sure. Other. And also, I mean, everybody's got their thing, but it's like you got to honor it. And, yeah, you can't really deny as debilitating as the things are, you got to deal with them.
I like how candid you are about your mental health.
I oscillate between believing that no one has any clue, and like I'm operating as though they think I like drive a Lamborghini and I just like I have nothing wrong, and then being like, there's no reason to withhold any of this information.
I just thought of another question I want to ask you.
Oh my god, go.
Do you know your attachment style?
I think it's anxious avoidant. Yeah, when I was at the treatment center, we went over we determined ours. Yeah, I think it used to be one and now it's the other. It used to be, what's the one, like too clingy?
Codependent.
Yeah, which I guess I kind of still am actually. It used to be closer to that. And then, this is very unhealthy, but at the beginning of relationships, I tend to, everything's going fine. And then when we get like a little serious, I start to realize like, well, I'm feeling so into this person. They might not be feeling the same way. They could be like, they don't get it. And then I start to panic and be like, okay, I got to do something. I got to make sure that they don't hurt me or whatever. And then I start to like, clear my schedule to make sure that I have time for them whenever they need it. And then a month after that goes by, I like shut that down and I become a little avoidant because it's like I go from one pole to the other with very little in between. And then it starts to even out. But I used to be that first way a lot more. And then now I think unfortunately, I'm more like avoidant, like almost self-destructively avoidant.
It's really interesting to hear you describe it because I've dated a lot of avoidant people and I've never really heard their side of it. And I'm always just like, why are you being like this? And you're just describing, I mean, that's why you're like that. Maybe other people have different reasons, but like.
That behavior, you mean?
Yeah.
You saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I can't speak for anybody but myself.
Why don't you speak for all avoidant people right now?
Okay, here we go. For all
Clip in.
For all straight white dudes, I think that there is what I've gathered is just for not all, but for some, there's this
a lot. Many.
But it's funny because the two most important guys in my life are not this at all. I'm the one out of the three of us who like communicate or regulate their emotions well enough. I think a lot of male circles they don't discuss. They talk about their feelings, but not into maybe as vulnerable a place.
Yeah.
Like I was just with three of my friends. We all went to college together. We're all very close. Two of them are my two best friends, and this other guy is like family still. Either way, he's talking about a potential breakup he's going through, and it was funny because I was like, this is fascinating. If you're talking about how much this relationship is just crushing you, you love this person, and it's decaying. It's not going well. I've been tortured for 4 months, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, there's no tears. And you could kind of see it was about to get there. But there were no tears. And I'm like, I just don't think. I think in any other case.
Wow.
There would be tears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it because, like, it's not cool to cry in front of your bros?
No. And to be even clear, I mean, we're not like, No,
I know you're not. I know you're not bros. Like, I'm just saying, like.
No, it's not that at all. I think there's something element of, like, if that were to happen, the mood would be so crazy. It would be like so visceral.
Yeah.
That might just be me though.
No, I get that. I feel like it's more socially acceptable for women to cry.
Yeah. It feels so big. Like it doesn't feel like, at least from my group, there's no shade of this is wrong where you're like lame or whatever. It's more of the like, for me, the way I interpret it is like, that would be putting such a massive emotional pivot on what's going on right now. Like, could we handle that?
Great answer. What's your love language? Do you know that love languages were invented by the Christian church?
Really?
As like a way to like brainwash women into staying in the church.
Wait, how? What is it?
It's like all different ways that you can give back to your family, and it's like.
But not receive any of them? I
think so. I just saw like a TikTok about this recently, but like apparently it was invented in the 70s by the Christian church.
Really? I mean, I know I like to give. The one I like to give is gifts. I like to provide or whatever the fuck. I like gifts and extras. I think it's like it's the least emotionally vulnerable. Like it means a lot to me to be able to do it. It makes me happy because I'm like, I'm thinking of this person. I know a lot about them. Blah, blah, blah. I want to let them know that I believe they're special, but it does require the least amount of vulnerability. I
don't know, actually. I think buying a gift for somebody is very vulnerable.
I guess if they're like, oh.
Well,
A locket? What?
not even, it's like whatever you get, you have to be like pretty confident that they're gonna like it and that it's the right level of gift and that like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there is vulnerability there.
Yeah. I get that's true. My parents are exceptional gift givers.
Wow.
Like incredible. Just so thoughtful. And I always thought that was fun. I don't necessarily like getting gifts. Okay, my family is just, or my parents and my oldest is incredible at it. So personal. But my stepdad, who I love, one of our first Christmases with him was horrifying because his family only does gag gifts.
Oh.
And I think that's kind of cool if it's like Secret Santa or you're with your friends. But like, we did not grow up with that because my parents didn't. Just growing up, we didn't have a lot of money, so we weren't bought anything.
Yeah.
The only time you had to like wait and think because it had to happen on Christmas, so it was very important. Like you're getting like fun shit, but you're also getting like we get toothpaste and toothbrushes and shit. He comes in with this box of like necklaces that you get when you go to Hawaii, and then they're like made of like the stones and like a Corona bottle of sand. And the cork is a dried starfish. And my mom was like crying, not because she like, my mom also is a great giver, doesn't need a lot, but it was the like difference of like, this isn't funny.
Yeah.
Like I'm showing that I care about you by like, I thought of this thing in June and I wanted to see your reaction to this thing that I think you'd like. And I hope none of this is sounding like spoiled or whatever.
No, it's not at all.
But yeah, when it's something like that, I'm like, oh, that's when it is like almost like a gag thing where it's like, oh, but I thought this is a moment to like see somebody's personality.
That's the exact vulnerability that I was talking about. Like your mom was probably crying in part because of that, because it was like, no, I really put myself out there and I like really thought about what you would want and like you didn't think about it the same way. It's like the gift of the Magi.
What's that?
I could totally be butchering this. It might be called something else, but I think the gift of the Magi is there's this like couple and they don't have a lot of money, but they each have one prized possession. And the woman has her long, beautiful hair, and the man has his father's pocket watch. It's like a gold pocket watch. And they both like love their one thing so much, but they love each other more. And so on Christmas, the woman buys a new chain for her husband's pocket watch by cutting off her hair and selling it.
Oh, wow.
And the man buys her a diamond brooch, like a pin for her hair, by selling his pocket watch. So at the end, they don't have their beloved items, but they have their love.
Yeah, I love that. I don't know if that's what that was. That's beautiful.
I don't know that it's the gift of the Magi. I might be conflating it with something else, but that is like a famous story.
I almost hope that it's not, and that the actual gift of the Magi is like like a Goonies level movie.
Yeah, it's like a musical. What's your most toxic trait? And okay,
That's such a good question.
Here's the thing, because last time I was joking that I couldn't think of what mine was, and that's really toxic. This is not to put you on the spot and be like, if you don't have anything, it's because you're a cocky fuck. Like,
no, I have a ton.
I just don't think you do. And I also don't know. I'm
don't.
actually starting to rethink this question after having asked it once, because he was just like trying to incriminate himself, and I was like, no. I was like, this is a bad question.
That's interesting. Yeah, I get that impulse. I have many. I would say I'm extremely competitive and comparative. I'm an extremely comparative human being. Like I use other people as a measuring stick.
Bad.
Terrible.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Facts. It is. It's absolutely, and it's ruined things temporarily.
Bummer.
Yeah, so that's being worked on in therapy.
Good.
Yeah, crazy comparative. Slash like jealous. Pretty jealous person. Or envious. And I am pretty irritable.
Really? You don't seem irritable.
Yeah. Like if we were roommates, we would like not talk because I just be like, I don't want to keep talking to a human being. Not you.
Yeah.
I don't keep talking to a human being every day. Like I just like don't, I'm like feeling a feeling and then I don't communicate it and I expect the other person to know what I'm feeling.
I do that too.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I do that.
I bet many people do it, but like, yeah, it's things that I just hate. Did you say, what did you say yours was?
I am pretty paranoid, and I'm definitely like very very cynical. Like, I'm pretty quick
yeah,
to be
that's it.
like, the world's ending and
Catastrophizing.
yeah, catastrophizing, and also like, no offense, but like people who aren't thinking about what it's gonna be like in 20 years, I'm like, you're stupid.
Yeah, quick to maybe categorize or judge. Maybe.
Yeah, I would say I'm extremely judgmental.
Yeah.
Like, I will be bitchy.
That's also another toxic trait. It's like self-hate. But I want them gone so fucking bad. And they're not gone. And some of that has to be because I don't want them gone. You know what I mean? Like, I want them gone and I'm working to remove them. And I'm lucky enough that I have friends where I can talk about this stuff with, and I'm not hurt when they're acknowledging it. They're like, yeah, you're doing that. I'm like, great. Fucking let's talk about it.
That's a great quality. I think that balances out a lot of the toxic qualities.
Well, I mean, there's times when I don't, when I'm like, someone will poke a nerve and I'll just be like, interesting, what about this fucking thing? Yeah, that's a very good question. Because it either requires honesty to answer that, or you find out that someone is a psychopath by being like, I don't think I have any. And who believe it, though. Or there's people who are like, the thing they're listing is not...
Yeah, they're like, I laugh a little bit too loud. It's like, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
Are you good at asking for help?
No. No one will know. No one can know.
Dad disease.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it's like don't ask for directions.
Well, yes, that's true. That is part of dad disease. Dad disease is really like, you have a heart attack and you're like, no, I'm fine. It's just, it's fine.
I think about, now that I live alone, I think about sometimes when you like choking, and I'm like, I really do think if I choked, I'm not going to go to my neighbor. I'm not going to inconvenience my neighbor. There's no universe where I'm like,
if you were choking to death,
no,
Charlie,
I don't think I would.
You gotta respect your life a little more than that.
I know, but I can't imagine like knocking on their door and like ruining their night and just being like, I'm
You'd
joking.
rather die than inconvenience your neighbor who you don't know?
I don't know that I'd rather die. I think that I don't think I could bring myself to insert my life into their life.
Even if you're dying?
God forbid. I mean, maybe when that adrenaline hits, it'd be different. So,
oh my God, Charlie.
I know.
I'm worried you're gonna choke now.
I guess with like creative stuff, I ask for help. Like if I'm stuck, I'll tend to just be like, can you please help me solve this problem? But yeah, if something's going wrong, or if I tend to not vocalize that.
Yeah. What have you always accepted to be true that turned out to be false?
Whoa. Honestly, I think it's back to the comparison thing. I kind of operated that all people were making other people their motivators. But I'm learning that people really keep their eyes on their own paper. Mm-hmm. Like, you know that if you don't do that, you let your guard down, and then you're now suddenly, you've been lapped in the race or something. It's people just really don't compare as much.
Yeah.
Themselves to other people. They really don't. Literally until probably a year ago. Like 30 full years of hardcore believing that people might say that they don't do it.
Interesting. Yeah. Let me see. I feel like I've asked you a couple out of order, but that's a good one. It's true. Okay, this is gonna be my last question, and then I'm gonna let you go because I've taken up a lot of your day. Do you have a motto?
No. I would say the one, maybe the closest I come is, they're probably not a dick. They're probably anxious.
That's really good.
Yeah, like whenever I meet somebody, I've always learned that like when I'm like, why were they like so weird the first time? Like, why were they so standoffish? And then I was like, yeah, they're in a room full of strangers. They were probably anxious. Oh, sorry, this isn't a motto, but this is a thing I live by. When someone is like, drivers in LA are crazy. They're fucking crazy. Whenever you've been waiting your patient turn for 20 minutes and then some asshole inserts themselves, or someone like cuts a red light or whatever, the thing I always say to myself is, and I don't even mean it as a joke, I'm like, okay, they may have diarrhea. That person might have diarrhea, and like they got to get to their house, and if I can help them get to their house and get to their toilet. Yeah.
Both of those actually tie into another thing that, I mean, I don't live by this, but I like try to always keep it in mind. It's like, it's not about you.
Yeah.
Like if somebody's being a dick, it's like, it's not about you. They're probably having a bad day. Maybe they're anxious, whatever. If somebody cuts you off in traffic, it's not because they're trying to fuck you over. And like that one's more intuitive, but like they might have diarrhea.
Yeah, they have their own life and their own. They're probably suffering from all the same shit that you, to a degree.
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much, Charlie.
Yeah, thank you for letting me talk into your microphone for
oh my,
so long.
I would keep it going all day.
No,
but
I
I could do this too. This is great.
Okay, well, I'll have you back soon.
Yeah!
Yeah! Thank you for
Brian
coming to
Haddles
Haddle's house.
Thanks for having me. It's Haddles House is where she lives.
That could be my theme song.
It's Haddles House.